Hey, Sean, this pandemic has stress tested everything. And it's difficult for me to talk about maybe some of the changes that I've endured because of the pandemic, because there's so many people who are hurting so much worse than I am. And so I have to make that disclaimer before I begin, because I'm not complaining about what I'm about to talk about, but I realize that my situation is inherently better than a lot of other people's situations. As a video producer, when the pandemic first started back in March 2020, I was working a ton. I was set up to have the best year of my life so far financially with the company. And when it stopped, we got rid of childcare because A, we couldn't afford it, and B, we didn't need it because I was not working. Video production stopped for a few months. And then as it started to trickle back to life, I wasn't working enough to justify childcare, and childcare was getting more expensive. And there were people who needed it more than I did, and I would have felt bad going out and putting Luca in a daycare because there were other people who needed that more than we really needed it. And we had resources, we had family who in a bind could help watch him. And so I really took on the role of full-time dad, and still to this day, now a year and change after that, I'm still primarily a full-time dad, which is awesome and exciting. But as I pursue resuming video production a little bit and doing so as safely as I possibly can, it still has to go through, can I schedule that shoot? Do I have the time? Because I get maybe 2 hours to edit during a nap and some time at night, unless we make other arrangements for Luca. And a lot of times I get help from Jesse, but I feel bad asking for that sometimes. And so my capacity for the amount of work I can take on is greatly reduced from what it was before. And I'm learning how to really maximize my time while editing and film in a way that's going to cut some steps down as far as what I used to do. And I used to shoot in a different quality, and then I'd have to convert everything to proxies. And now with my new computer, I can shoot in H.265, and the footage looks great, and I don't have to convert it to proxies before I edit. And so there's little things like that which are helping me do more work and maximize every minute that I have when I'm working for my clients. But after taking so much time off, I watched a lot of my peers and colleagues continue to shoot all throughout that. Even last April, when things were awful, April 2020, people were still going out and filming during lockdown, and it was kind of driving me crazy because it's like, we have to, this is non-essential, and we have to do things a little differently right now. And so while I was bothered by the lack of sacrifice that some people were making, I get that they had different things. They had money they had to make, they had things they had to do, and I lost sight of that a little bit. And now, as things are starting to open back up again, and although we still have more problems with Delta and new variants coming and people not being vaccinated, I've looked at all of the people who've continued to shoot, and I feel like my work, as I've tiptoed back in, isn't as good as it used to be, and definitely not as good as the people I used to film with who have continued to film, who have continued to iterate and put in the reps. And they've gotten better and better and better. And their footage looks amazing. And they're doing projects for bigger companies and bigger brands. And that's awesome. And I've started to feel bad. Like, am I still a good enough video producer? Like, I used to feel like I was pretty good. But not only have I not progressed, but in some ways I've regressed. And while my gear has gotten better almost universally, I'm not as good at using it as I once was. And so I've been struggling with this. Like, what is my future as a video producer, as somebody who puts videos on YouTube? What does this look like long term? And I have to remind myself that the privilege of getting to be a full-time dad for me right now, while Jesse, my partner, is able to continue working and we are fine financially as far as our house, our rent, our mortgage, and our food and our utilities are concerned, we're fine. And I've gotten moments with my son that a lot of dads don't get, and that's a really, really special thing. So as I caught myself a few months ago starting to work again, and I did my first project, and I looked at the footage, I'm like, this is garbage. I thought, to fast forward to the future, And if somebody were to ask me, hey, would you give up a couple years of your career and maybe not progress as rapidly in exchange for invaluable, unrepeatable, irreplaceable time with your son as he's a toddler? And of course, I would say absolutely. Absolutely, I would do that if it wouldn't affect my family financially, if we would be comfortable and fine. I would love to make that sacrifice. And instead, I didn't have the choice. But because of that, it's made me think about it a little differently. And so I have this duality right now of absolutely savoring all of this time as a father, these precious moments that are rare and special and unique. And again, not a lot of dads get these moments. And maybe I'm not making as many YouTube videos as I wanted, or maybe I'm not making as many videos for clients as I want. And I'm happier than I was letting myself feel for a long time as I was struggling with this. And so I wanted to make this video because you might be in a similar situation. Maybe it's not fatherhood. Maybe it's just some time that you're working through some things. This pandemic is tough. It's tough. It's made us think about things we never would have thought before. And there's some growth in there. There is some happiness and some silver lining. But a lot of it is just plain tough for everybody and frustrating. And if you've been focused on that sort of stuff, and maybe you're watching too much TV, but if you need to decompress, if you need to relax a little bit, that's fine. You should do that. And if you are looking around at all these videos about hustle and grind and how to make the most out of the pandemic, and you start to feel like, man, I'm not really where I should be, or like I should be learning new things and teaching myself new skills, don't waste time feeling bad about that, because I think when you fast forward a few years, you're going to find that you were taking care of yourself, and while maybe your career did not skyrocket in some probably unlikely way that it could have, you're going to be in a better place mentally, and you're going to have cared for yourself and your family first, and that's what really matters. So as I've come to terms with this, I wanted to be open, to be honest, and share it here on the channel. But I'm grateful for the few videos that I've been able to post over the past several months, and for the clients that have given me the work over the past couple months. It's a wonderful thing to be able to plug back in voluntarily and find some work and have the trust of former clients and the referrals to new clients. It means a lot to me. So would I trade all of this time I've had with my son, the adventures, the trips, the days, the toys, even the mundane moments and the reading books together, would I trade even some of that to advance my career a little bit? No. And like most videos, this isn't me preaching to you. This is me reminding myself of these things I'm talking about and keeping my attitude where it needs to be. That's all I got. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. See you later. Bye.